But Daniel was in an environment that was very ungodly, and he was under a lot of pressure to do a lot of wicked things under order of the king. Now Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were in this environment where if they didn't bow to the king, they would be punished. And on the backdrop of that, Daniel's words are, "But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits, do great things, take action, act." And if you carry on through the book and find out the history, you'll find that there was an uprising of people who defeated in our language, the king, the government of that time, and brought reformation, and brought change in the land. Because those who knew their God knew that it was not right, knew it was wrong, and they had the strength and the fortitude and the resilience within them to take action. But we live in a time where we're comfortable. We are. If you think you're not comfortable, come with me to another country. But when you see what they earn and how they live, then they're not going to ask you again whether you're comfortable or not. We don't know we're born in Britain. Even the poorest doesn't know they're born in Britain in comparison to other nations around the world. But this morning I want to look at, what does it mean to take action? Okay, now I said this in the pre-service, but I'm going to say it again. The aeroplane is just taking off. Buckle your seatbelts. Stow the table up in the upright position in front of you. Stewards, the stewardesses, if you'd sit down, and let's get ready to go. And you'll understand why I say that as we continue this morning. What does the word take action mean? It means to do something. Oh dear Lord, that's got a bit of off the Christians in the nation. To do something. To put into effect, to act involved, to get a particular result. What's the particular result here? Thousands coming to Christ. So we get involved in that. We don't stand and watch other people do it and say, well, it's your responsibility, I ain't doing it. I've had a tough week, you don't know the half, mate. I'll slap your head. It's time for everybody to take action. To get a particular result, we've got to take steps. It means to get moving. Get moving. That means we're not moving. It means to get moving. To achieve something. You know, it's easier to steer a moving ship than it is to get the ship out of a harbour and to get it going. Because when the ship is moving, you make some small adjustments on a rudder and the ship will change its course of action, its direction. But when the ship is in a harbour and it's not moving anywhere, how can you get it to move? It's not moving anywhere. So a ship, believe it or not, was not designed to be sat in a harbour, and we as believers are not designed to do nothing. We're designed to take action. Yeah? Now you may know some of these people. I hope to God there's no one in this room like this. But we know people who talk a good talk, don't we? Yeah. They talk, they talk it up, they know it all. But those same people don't do anything. Do you know those people? I know those people. I know pastors who are like that. Leaders who are like that. Christians who are like that. They can talk up a storm. They know everything. They know the answer to everything. But then you look at their life, they don't do anything that they say. Yeah? No one in this room is like that, are we? No, we're not. They talk like experts, but they don't put it into effect. I know a pastor who knew everything about leading the church, knew everything about how to deal with difficult people and confronting all these type of things until he had a difficult situation. And some nutcase in his church, well, actually the worship leader, was causing an issue. And then what does he do? Everything that he'd said that he knew he had to do, what did he do? He resigned and left. Didn't deal with anything. He knew it all, but he never did anything. He never put it into practice. Some of us, we know all about tithing, but you don't tithe. Leave it to my wife. Yeah? I'd love to know who did this, but last week, you know when you go to Asda or Aldi, you put those little coins in the trolley. Whoever decided to put one of the coins in the dustbin bag, you're welcome to have it back.
Trolley coin.
A trolley coin. Okay, no, I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. But you know, when you give, at least have the nous to realise that I don't need your money. We're giving to God. So I'll leave it on here. And you're welcome to take it in secret. Well, may I ask you not to put it in the offering again? Okay? I'm not being nasty. I'm not. I feel hook you. I'm not. But you know, when we are giving in our worship, when we are giving, we are worshiping God. We're not just trying to get the fluff out of our pockets and just chuck it in the bag, just to appease someone. I've told you, I don't need your money. Keep it. You know why? You need your money. That's why you need to give, because the Bible, there are principles in the Word. But some of us have heard it and heard it and heard it and heard it, and if I was to ask you, you know all about it, you just don't do it. And then you'll come and say, oh, can you pray that, you know, that God will increase me and provide for me? You know what I'd love to say? No. Because if you don't do the word, why would you expect me to pray for you? Anyway, that's not the message, but I thought I'd just throw that in for free. You don't have to pay me for that one, that's just free. I tell you, buckle your seatbelts. To take action is to achieve something, to get moving, to get a particular result. We are results driven. You might think, oh, how dare you say that in church? We are results driven. Do you know why we're results driven? Because I'm asking you to share your faith. Who shares their faith? 4 people, 5 people, 6 people. I want us to be in a place where we all share our faith every week. Why? Because we want to see someone born again. Yes. Yeah. Do we not? Yeah. That's a result. Yeah? Yes. Forget your football match. This is a result when someone gives their life to Christ and they're no longer going to spend an eternity condemned, but they're going to spend eternity with their Saviour. That's a result. Amen. So we are results driven. You know, why do you think we lay hands on the sick? So that they drop down dead and die? Come on. You lay hands on the sick because you want to see them healed. It's a result. Yes. We're results driven. Yeah, we want to see, why do we want to see the place full? People. Yes. We want to see people here. Yeah. Children, young people, old people, middle-aged people, single people, white, brown, black, yellow, every colour under the sun, worshipping God together. Yes. We're results driven. Yes. Can you put the next slide on? And you may understand the way. There's a call to action in this place. Sorry, it's my microphone. There's a call to action. You know, you've been in these places where you hear people, there's a call to action. In other words, we have got to wake up from our slumber and stop making excuses for why we don't ever do the things that we talk about. Because you know what, I said before, when some people start talking to me with the greatest of respect, comes in here, goes in here, comes out of here, and I don't even listen. Because I know that that person who's saying what they're saying ain't going to do what they say. So why would I give my time to listen? You might think that's rude, that's not rude. Why would I? I want us to be people who do what they say. Yeah? Yes. Yes. So there's a call to action, there's a sense of urgency in the church, and the urgency in the church is a call to be proactive. Called to be proactive. What does proactive mean? This is going to nail half of you, if not all of you. Someone who gets things done. Someone who's proactive is someone who gets things done instead of waiting for things to happen or for others to do it. So we need something to clean the kitchen and the toilet floors. So we say something and tell someone for 9, 10, 11 months, but we don't bother to do it ourselves. How many of you have told me the toilet doesn't work? The toilet doesn't work, the toilet doesn't work. Keith, the toilet doesn't work. What do you expect me to do about it? I'm here speaking. Yeah. You do it. Yeah. I don't know a plumber. What are you going to do when your toilet breaks at home? Pee in the sink. You get a plumber if you was at home. Why don't you get a plumber here and help? No, it's your responsibility. You do it, you do it, you do it, you do it. I'm not going to be proactive. You do it. So you're going to pee in the sink. Thank God for a new person in the church who is proactive. Malcolm. 2 weeks ago, Keith, the toilet don't work. I'll fix it. In. Turn the water off, blah, 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 blah. It's working. Malcolm, hats off to you. Thank you. Proactive. Now, I'm saying that because that embarrasses everybody else. You may think that's tough. It's not tough. You told me the toilet don't work. Why don't you get someone in and fix it? Like I said, if you don't know a plumber, what are you going to do when your toilet breaks at home? Stick a cork in? Of course you won't. You'll find a plumber. Yeah. So why can't we find a plumber here and help? And did you notice I didn't find a plumber? I didn't want to find one.
Yes.
God sent one. I didn't find one. You know why? Because I've got a million other things to do. And if you want me to speak on a Sunday and pray for you every day like I do, I ain't got time to find a plumber. That's why there's a team of people to do it with us. If you don't do it, don't get done. Proactive. Someone who gets things done. Instead of waiting for things to happen or for others to do it. Welcome to church. I said there would be a bit of turbulence this morning, didn't I? We have a prophetic call on everybody who's hearing this. On the camera or even in person. To take action. Be the solution to the problem. Don't talk about the problem. Don't tell me about the problem. Be the solution to the problem. You moan about things, you don't come and pray. You don't know how to do certain things, and you need certain answers, but you don't bother to come to Bible study. Yeah? Be the solution to the problem. Be the solution to the problem. Oh, the Muslims are taking over. Oh. Mum and Dad, have you seen them parking on the traffic lights? Oh. Have you done anything about it? Have you taken some invites and gone to speak to them? And you know, we're not short of people to go and find. Have you actually taken anything and said, you know, let me go and share Jesus with someone? Yeah. Oh no, we're just going to complain about it and do nothing, aren't we? And moan when they park on double yellow lines, and moan when they block the traffic lights, and then they shoot in front of you, nearly smack your car. Oh, that was me Tuesday night. Yeah? Take action. Share Jesus with people. Yeah? We have a sense of urgency. There's a call to action, guys. And I hope I'm ruffling your feathers. Because this ain't a place to be comfortable. It ain't a place. Because when someone comes through that door that smells like the back end of a cow, and they come in and they don't know what you expect of them in church, and when I'm speaking, they just suddenly stand up and shout a question out, or sit there with a flask of coffee, having a coffee, get the sandwiches out, have something to eat. They don't know what they're meant to do, and we get all religious about it. They're coming to hear like that. Yeah. What do you expect? It's a call to action. There's going to be thousands of those people who will come in and know who've never been in church. Like I said last week, don't you be the reason why they don't come back. There's a call to action, guys. Reasons why we don't take action. Reasons why we don't take action. Top left. Self-limiting beliefs. Ooh, what's that then? Basically, oh dear, I sound like my daughter. The way you think. If you think others should do something, then you don't. If you think you shouldn't serve where God has planted you, then you won't. If you think you're too busy and you won't commit, then you won't serve. Why should I do that? Someone else can do it. I'm not bothered. I'm too old. I don't have time. Oh, okay. So we all say that then. Yeah? All these limiting things that we think affect how we live our life. See, if your mindset is one, and my mindset is probably very different to a lot of people, but what your mindset is, when I see people who are sick, I want to pray for them. Don't care where I am. Yeah? Well, they may not like it. We know what happens if they're healed. I've never seen someone who is healed complain of you. Oh, how dare you heal me? All that pain and that ache and that suffering is all gone. I wish you hadn't bothered. I've never known anybody do that. Maybe you have, but I've never have. Self-limiting belief. Number 2, fear. Fear that you don't know what to say. Fear that you won't do it properly. Fear that you may do it wrong. Fear of what happens if I mess up. Fear of people rejecting you. And even those who procrastinate. In other words, you put things off to another day. The underlying cause of that is fear. Because I'm going to put it off today and I'll do it tomorrow. I'll put it off and do it tomorrow. But the only problem is with that, we know tomorrow never comes. So we never do it. Yeah? Some of you have said you're going to clean your house and you don't do it. You're going to go in your garden, you don't do it. I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll talk to my neighbour tomorrow. I'll share Jesus with that lady that I met last week tomorrow. It's always another day. Another reason why some people stop, things that stop people from taking action, not wanting to take responsibility for anything. You know, I've asked people to coordinate the gardening. I've asked people to coordinate the cleaning. No, 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 no. Well, God bless you, I have to do it. So I now have to find time when I'm studying and praying and studying and all these things I'm doing to then come and be here. And I'm not against serving, because I serve. And I come and I clean this place this morning before you turned up again. Shifted snotty handkerchiefs off the floor and sweep uppers. Yeah? I've already done all that this morning, so you can't say that I don't serve, because I didn't see you here. But you know, I've asked people to do that, and it's always, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. Well, on God's earth, who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? You know, let me just say this. I don't know if it's prophetic or pathetic, but I know some people, God's going to choose other people. I told you that the church that we were part of in South Africa, Vay Macaulay, when God said to him, and it's now up to 40,000 people, when God asked Ray to take a lead, start the church, and it was the first multicultural black and white church in apartheid of South Africa, where the black and white sat together, ate together, and I was going to say pooed together, but they could both use the same toilet, because they're of the segregation. Yeah. When God said, Ray, start the church, Ray said yes, and he got really, I'm good, you know. And God said, don't think you're good. I've already asked 600 people, and they all said no. And you know, God will come to us and he'll say to us, do certain things, and we say no. And when God raises up somebody else to do it, don't complain. Yeah? Because God will say, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll find somebody else whose heart will do it. Now, you know, it may seem a silly thing, but you know, I'm not trying to get too spiritual over it, but the blessing on a person who's been willing to come, to turn the toilet off, to take it apart, get the peas, go and buy the peas that could be obsolete, to come back early, 2-hour drive from Wrexham, to come here to fit it for you so that you can poo in peace. There's a reward for somebody like that. Amen. Now you may think, oh, I'm not being funny, but I'm trying to light a bit of a stick of dynamite up underneath some of you, because we get too comfortable. We just, well, I still do it. I do it, you can do it, you can do it, go on, go and you do it, I do it, you do it. Off you go, you do it. And that's our mindset. And you know what, why the church that we were part of in South Africa has got to 40,000 people isn't because people sat on the behinds every day. It's because the people were mobilised as an army and went out and fed the poor, laid hands on the sick, witnessed the people, hired a coach to bring people to church, got a bigger car to bring people to church. Said, let me go and get a minibus so I can bring people to church. Let me go around all the old people's homes and bring people to church. And the people did it, not the pastor. You're waiting for me to do everything. I'll stick a stick and broom up behind, shall I? Well, you just sit there nice and comfortable. What a wonderful man. He does so much. Yeah, I'll be dead before I turn 57. Then you can thank me at my funeral. Come on. It's not a one-man band, we're an army of people who are taking action together. For some, it's a lack of commitment. We won't commit where God has planted us. Or you won't commit to what God has told you to do. Come on, guys. And then the next one, I don't know if it's up there or not, but there's no urgency. I don't know if I didn't manage to get up. No urgency. We don't see the importance of it. You know, we're more bothered. Shall I? Yeah, why not? You know, I could put a meeting on. Let's organise the cleaning. 2 people turn up. If I put another meeting on, let's organise to go on holiday. You'll all be here. You'll be here quicker than the speed of light. And some of you don't like me saying that. But it's true. And I'm going to keep saying it until you get the revelation of what God is about in our life and in this church. We get too comfortable with our lifestyle. Take it easy. Let's stagnate. Let's waste time. Let's not lift a finger. Let's shirk responsibility. Being a person of action is characterized by doing, not by words. Because words are cheap. Talk is cheap. Yeah? Let's go. Now that was my introduction. This is my message. It's true, actually. This is true. John chapter 4. I want to read John chapter 4 and John chapter 5. John chapter 4 and it's verse 46. Okay? And there aren't many slides from here on in until the end. But John 4 verse 46, I'm going to look at two different accounts. The nobleman and the man by the pool. Okay, so verse 46, Jesus came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made the water into rosé wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. And I'm going to stop there. And there was a certain nobleman, important guy, important man, whose son was sick at Capernaum. Now let's go to John chapter 5. I want to read from verse 1. After there was a feast, a Passover, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there was in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which in Hebrew is called Bethesda, with 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of sick, blind, lame, paralyzed people waiting for the moving of the water. And I want to read verse 5. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity for 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been in that condition a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" Now, I preached this yesterday because I was teaching Christ the Healer. And I'm going to talk about this in a completely different context to what I did yesterday. But Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he'd already been in that condition a long time. Do you want to be made well? Now, you may think that's a strange question, but if you know people, not everybody wants to get well. I'll have to give them my blue badge. I'll have to walk to get to Aldi now. I won't get free food if I'm healed. I want a bit of your sympathy. Some of you like sympathy. So it's not a strange question. You may not say verbally you don't want to be healed, but your attitude, your mindset, your heart is that you don't want to be healed because you don't want to give up, as Malcolm said, your benefits that you've got. Now, that's not everybody, because some do, so that's just a generalised statement. But in verse 7, the sick man answered Jesus and said, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water stirred, and while I'm coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." Interesting. I'm going to look at that in a couple of minutes. I'm going to go back to John 4. The nobleman. The nobleman's son was critically ill. And he heard that Jesus was doing miracles. And he was desperate for an answer, because if you look into this a little bit more, when he said his son is sick, he was actually at the point of death. So it's serious now, guys. If anyone of you have been in a room where someone is about to pass away from this world, you understand the trauma and the stress of it all. And you know, let me just say this. You know, in the UK, we have lots of options when it comes to healing. Don't we? We have lots of options. Then we complain when we're not healed. But you know what? When it comes to the options, many of us will try him. We don't rely on him. Yeah. Think about that. We try Jesus, we don't rely on Jesus. Wow. And what do I mean by that is when you go to another country where they're very poor and their NHS, they don't have one and it's bad, they have to rely on him, not try him. See, we will go to the doctor. We'll complain like hell, say that on purpose, about the doctor. But then someone says, you trust Jesus. You try everything. Oh yeah, Jesus. Oh, let me give him a go. We've tried him. We haven't relied on him. Does that make sense? He becomes one of many options. And then we wonder why nothing happens in our life. Maybe. I'll tell you, get this on camera, put it on YouTube and mark the day. I've said it many times. But the NHS will get to the point where it is that overrun and it is unable to give people operations and treatment, and that people will be dying because of the lack of resources within the NHS. So what option are you going to have? Because what most people will do at that point is moan, because we're good moaners. Let's moan again. And if you said to them, "What, have you thought of trying Jesus?" they'd look at you like you were mental. I'm talking Christians here, not unsaved people. We try, we don't try him. We rely on him. Yes? Some of you need to write that down and think about that a bit more. We don't try him, we rely on him. In verse 48 of John 4, Jesus said this: unless you people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. You won't believe. You won't believe unless you see signs and wonders. So where does that leave you then? Because faith believes without seeing. Yeah? Like I said, many of us try Jesus, and then when Jesus doesn't work, we go elsewhere. Well, you had a lot of faith, didn't you? So if you don't mind, Natasha has been ill, stomach pains. And she's been trying in Bristol with the hospital and the GP, and it was all a waste of time. And then the song Yahweh that we sang before was going through her mind. And she kept singing it and singing it and singing it and singing it, singing it and singing it and singing it. The second word of that song, Yahweh, is Rapha. What's that mean? Healer. So she's singing, Rapha, Jesus my healer, will manifest in this place. What place? Her life. Are you, has the pain gone? Are you, okay, has the pain drastically reduced from what it was like when you went to the doctors? Yes. You see, you sing the song, you pray, and God starts to put the process into place for you to recover. Yes. We like things instant. Microwave, 3 minutes, there's me spaghetti bolognese. Yeah? So we pray, and we don't get an answer in 3 minutes. God don't hear me, God made me sick. This stuff doesn't work. And yet I read that he speaks about you laying hands and people recover. I've told you, the disc came out of my spine a year and a half ago. And then the nurse said, it's going to be between 2 to 3 months recovery. And I couldn't walk. I was, Jenny's putting me socks on. It took me half an hour to sit down, half an hour to stand up. I couldn't get in my car, get out of my car. Very painful. And I left the nurse at the GP because the doctor was too busy. I left the nurse and I thought, you know what, stuff this. We either believe that God heals or he doesn't. So there's a place in Bournemouth where we live called the Railway Walk. So I parked my car, shuffled up to the Railway Walk, because this is the speed I'm walking. And I got there, there's nobody about, which was good. And I lay hands on myself. Put your hands on myself, and I'm okay. This, you got to get back into place. Because Jesus, I'm not sick. Jesus has already healed me. This is an attack. Jesus, I'm already healed. So this, get back into place. The nerves and tendons, do your job. Strengthen my back, hold it in place. Pain, you've got no right. Anyway, I walked. I didn't walk very far, but it took me a very long time because I could hardly walk. I turned around and I'm singing and I'm shouting. There's nobody around apart from a few cows. And they couldn't talk English, so it was okay. So I get back into my car and I think, okay, that's fine. That day, everything is still the same. They say no word of a lie. Tuesday morning, I wake up and I think, oh, me back. It's not as bad as yesterday. Let me try and put my sock on. Put my sock on. Next day, my back was fine. And I'm not exaggerating. Now, and I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I'm better than you. I'm not better than anybody else. But you know what? We either believe that this stuff works or we don't. When the Bible talks about salvation, that salvation work, which includes healing, affects every area of our life. If we let him. And I'll say that word if, underlined in bold letters, in bold font. Because we don't always. Yeah? We've got to take action. In verse 40 of John 4, unless your people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. The nobleman said, sir, come down before my child dies. In other words, the nobleman said, Jesus, I want you to come and do something for me. Come with me. I want your presence with me. Jesus says, go on, now clear off. Your son lives. In other words, I'm not going. My presence isn't going with you, but the job's already done. So the nobleman goes downstairs and he looks, and the people tell him, your son that was about to die lives. Many of us want to feel the presence of God before we'll believe him. We want the presence of God to affect us. But Jesus in verse 50 says, he spoke his word, go your way, your son lives. And God has given some of us instruction of what he wants us to do, but we just don't do it. We want yet another sign, and then yet another sign, and yet another sign. Forgot to confirm and forgot to confirm and forgot to confirm and forgot to confirm. How many more times do we need God to confirm what God has already said? It's not that you want confirmation, it's that you don't believe it. And you won't do it. I'm daft, man. Because when God says to me to do something, I just do it. And I don't always think of the consequences. I'll just do it. And some of us have got to get into that same place where we just say, God, if that's what you say, I'm going to go do it. See, in verse 51, they said, your son lives. In verse 52, the nobleman says, when, at what hour? They said, yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. Verse 53, the father knew it was the same hour when Jesus spoke. Your son lives. So when God speaks, take action. He's not asking for us to sit there and debate it. He's not sitting there trying to find a reason why not to do it. He's just saying, I want you to go and do. The funky. Sorry, my mind goes in places. Do you remember that song, The Funky Giver? Anyway, sorry, my mind. I think of songs when I'm speaking. But God wants us to do. He wants us to do. But I've noticed that people in church, when their needs are met and they're blessed, they become introverted. You think, what do I mean? They become a pool, a stand-up reservoir. They get from God and then they go and think only of themselves. And we become very self-centered around me and my life and my needs. We get comfortable, we have a comfortable lifestyle, we get a nicer car, nicer clothes, we eat out more and go on more holidays. And yet God never healed you to go on holiday. He healed you to lay hands on the sick, to share Jesus, and to bring people in this place. That's why your needs were met and that's why you were healed. And yet we think, nah man, look at that. God healed me so I can go on holiday and have a nice time. Nothing against holidays. I was going to say something, but I'll reserve that for another day because some of you won't like it. You see, we get our needs met and then we become introverted. Me. My life, my this. They said, I'm going to do what I want. You know, why would God give you a job on a Sunday so that you don't come here? God, look at that. God has given me a speedboat. Isn't that wonderful? So I can go in the ocean every Sunday and never come to church. Why would God give you a speedboat so you can miss church? Tell me. Because the mindset of this nation at this point in history is very self-driven. Very self-driven. Find some of your family members, where are they? They'll be out, down the pub, having a drink, watching telly, washing the car, going shopping, walking the dog. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Didn't say there was anything wrong with it. But they had here. And I bet you hadn't invited them here, have you? You see, 90% of Christian resources in the UK, here's a nice statistic for you, is spent on spiritual health. What does that tell you? We've obsessed with ourselves. We're obsessed with ourselves. That's a horrible place to get when we become a stand-up pool, self-focused, self-seeking. Because you know what? The more we're like that, the more we become aware of our aches and pains and our ailments. And yet if we were in war, I said this yesterday, if we were in war, we'd go out to battle and we wouldn't even be aware of the aches and pains. But because we've become so self-centered and so obsessed with ourselves and our needs, and I listen to you, my need, my this. Stop saying my anything. It ain't yours. Jesus took it off you. Yes. You just refused to give it to him. Yes. It ain't your sickness at all. My God, why do we own death in our lives? No. But we do. You glad you came? Yes. Are we people of action? Yes. Are we a producer or a consumer? A producer. What's in it for me? What's in it for me, Keith? What's in it for me? I'm not going to contribute. I'm not going to clean the toilet. I'm going to in the toilet. Is that okay? And I better not be dirty, because if there's any marks on that seat, how dare you leave that toilet dirty? Well, get off your own backside and clean it then. Come on. You think this ain't hard. I'm just telling the truth here, and I'm saying things that people don't normally say. And the devil say this, God's put me here for such a time as this, and I'm going to say things that you ain't going to listen to in other places, but they need to be said. Yeah. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to every devil that's listening as well. Yes. And the Spirit of God that's listening. Yes. Because we've got to rise up an army in this place that's going to change stuff. Because you know what, if we're passive, Netherton will be a Muslim town. Now don't you come moaning about it, Muslim people, the people, go and get them saved. Yeah. Yeah. Go and share Jesus with them. Yes. Don't murder them Indian people. Get out of it, man. Come on. They're people that God has put here for a reason, so that we can go to them and share the love of Jesus with them. Yes. Don't moan that they're taking over the nation and they're taking all the jobs when you don't bother to get a job. Don't moan. You pray. So John chapter 5, this is the best bit. Sorry guys, it'll be a while. John chapter 5 verse 5. Now a certain man was there, a man by the pool, been there 38 years. It was Passover, and the man had probably been bought by somebody and put by the pool. Been there 38 years, that's a hell of a long time. Yeah? Maybe you've been to church for 38 years, you've been saved 38 years, and somebody invited you initially and you got saved, and you've been around Jesus for a long period of time. I don't know. That man would have gone by the pool, he'd have seen the angel come and stir the water, and he'd have been filled with hope, thinking, you know what, there's my answer to get healed. Yeah? And maybe we've come to church with that same expectation that something would happen to us. But 1 year comes, 5 years comes, 10 years come and go, and for many people that expectation begins to wane. Yeah? Well, that man had been there for 38 years. I'm sure his expectation had actually gone. Well, there's more to this man than meets the eye, because Jesus said to him, do you want to be made well? Do you want to be whole? Do you want to have nothing missing, nothing broken in your life? Do you want to be cured? Yeah? Do you want it? Yeah. And then, the question, I know what's written down here. Will you continue to hurt and cry week after week after week after week and never move on? Will you continue to talk about your sickness week after week after week after week and not ever get well? Will you continue to allow things to stop you week after week after week after week for 38 years? If the angel came and stirred that pool once a week for 38 years, that's 456 times. If he came once a week, 52 weeks in a year, that would have been over 1,800 times that angel came and stirred that pool. And he sat there and says a bunch of excuses why he wasn't healed. And we in church always come up with excuses. I stuttered. And as a kid, stutter is a big thing. Now, I had two choices. I can picture the day I was at Brick House on an evening at a prayer meeting on a Friday night at Brick House. And I had a choice that night. Do I believe that I'm healed and God will use me? Or do I wait for God to heal me and then he will use me? And I made that decision that day that I'm healed. And God's going to use me no matter what I'm like. And for the next 15 years, I carried on stuttering. At times, it was quite embarrassing, especially when you can't even say your wife's name when you're getting married. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? But somewhere, and it was in my early 30s, that God moved. And God did something, but he never stopped me from taking action. Yeah. Oh, now I'll say this, my dog died. Oh, my dog died, I can't do anything. The gerbil died, I can't do anything. I'm not being nasty to you, we get attached to animals. Our dog died last year. But we can't keep using everything under the sun as a reason for not doing stuff. It's okay for a season to be hurt. Yes. We know that season comes to an end. Yeah. We shouldn't keep living our life in permanent state of crisis. Mm-hmm. Yeah? We shouldn't. If you do, there's an issue. Okay? Oh, that's really hard, Keith. No, it's not. Jesus said, do you want to be made well? I didn't say that. Jesus said, if you don't like it, take it up with him. Because he came to the man of 38, he said, do you want to be made well? And I'm only repeating his words. So if you don't like my words, you're going to have a good afternoon arguing with God. You know, we have the power to choose life or death, blessing and cursing. God has given us the power to choose. We can sit for the rest of our life and nothing will change. Or we can get up, dust ourselves off, and move on in life. Yes? Yeah. No, I don't know about you, but this Bible that I read is life. Yeah. And if it's life, when I read it, it changes my life. Yes. It will challenge me, because if my mindset doesn't fit the word, I am wrong and I must fit the word. Yeah. So I look at it, and when it says I'm healed, and I'm healed. When it says that God will heal me and set me free and deliver me, then that's a done deal. Yeah? Yes. So we move on. He says, time for action. We move on. Oh no, Keith, I'm comfortable with my routine. You know, better the devil you know. You know that one? Can you say that in church? Better the devil you know. You know what I mean? Well, you know, what happens if some of you, I said this to someone yesterday, and she got a nut allergy. And I said to her, have you ever considered that God will heal you with that? And she sat there and she said, you know something? No, I've never thought of that. I've never ever thought of the fact that God could heal me of that. So I say to you, what things have you got are affecting you that you've never given to God to work in your life? You know, if you got sick, here's a question or statement. If you got sick, can't you get unsick? Not very good English, I know, but you know, if you get sick, can you get unsick? If you get hurt, can you get unhurt? I've been there. I'm not talking rubbish here. We've been there. We've been there. If you've been hurt, you can get unhurt. Yeah? We've got to change our lifestyle, some of us, and embrace all that God has for us. Because I still say, the phrase I've got down here, I've read it this morning, I thought, where did that come from? We nibble at God. We don't eat everything that God has for us. We just nibble. Does that make sense? And then we wonder why things don't work. And why God doesn't come through. Well, not being funny, matey. God ain't going to come through for people who don't take him seriously. Why should he? Oh, but God's loving. Of course he's loving. He loves you that much that he wants you to learn. Time to take action. See, we've got to move on in life. Salvation works for everything, and we have too many excuses why we don't take action, why we don't do exploits. The problem with this man who lay by the pool, he thought he was on holiday. He's by a pool, didn't he? You probably got a bit of, you know, a bit of a drink, pool, bit of sun. What more can you do? Watching people walk by. Hello, how you doing, mate? Oh, you still here? Yeah, I've been here a long time, mate. Yeah, follow the furniture. Yeah. Some of us have that mindset that we're on holiday. And you know what? We ain't on no holiday. We're an army at war.
Yes.
We're an army at war. Now, you might not like the analogy, but it's true. Like the man by the pool, we are waiting for God to stir us up to pray, to give, to worship. We are waiting for God to stir us up like the man was waiting in the pool. We are waiting for God to move so that we produce, so that we will invite people to church. We will invite, you know, well, I had this feeling, I should say something. I love to know what the feeling was. Sometimes the only feeling I'll get is to go to the bathroom. But you know, we have this feeling. We're waiting for God to move. If you go to Aldi and there's a woman in front of you and she's got sticks and she can't walk, what are you waiting for God to move for? Excuse me, I know you might think this is a bit strange, but I believe that Jesus heals. Would you mind if I pray for you? Now, I understand if you think I'm a bit weird, but I do believe that, you know, maybe God could do something for you this morning. And in all the years I've said things like that, I've never had anyone say no. They might look a bit shocked, but they never say no. So oh, go on then. And then you pray for people. And you know what happened? What happened if you was in Aldi in King Swinford? You laid hands on some old dear, powered on him from the fall over. Everyone thinks he just assaulted her. But she gets up and she's healed. Don't you think that will be the expression stop?
Yeah.
Because I do.
Yeah.
Somebody will have it on their camera. Some assistant will be there filming it. But this is the season we live in.
Yes.
That we have to take opportunities like that. You know, I know Lynn was down Stourbridge a few weeks back, and there was a lady who came and sat next to her on the bench. So Lynn goes to work. And she prays about it, and she led her to Jesus, and her husband comes. You know what I mean? We got to be unstoppable like that.
Yeah.
We got to be unstoppable. But the man in verse 7 came up with 3 excuses like we do. Oops, I've got no one to put me in the pool. There's no one to help me. He wanted other people to do it for him. If you've been sat on the edge of here, right? There's the pool. Right? I don't know what his disability was, he doesn't say. Right, now I'm going to get on the edge, right?
Be careful.
Now, can you balance? Right? I'm waiting. He said, I've got no one to put me in the water. Mate, you've only got a cough, you're in.
Yourself.
But he said, I've got no one to put me in.
Yourself.
I've got no one to put me in the water, mate. Well, I can fall in and back me on the carpet. What are you playing at? I've got no one to put me in. You know the angel comes, and you know what you get. You've been there 38 years, you get your mates, you get your friends, you get your enemies. Stick me right on the edge. Someone just, tottering on the edge. Yeah? We have the Holy Spirit and the Word with us all the time. We don't need the angel to come and stir the pool. We have everything we need. Then he says, when the pool is stirred, he's waiting for his circumstances to change. When it's stirred, someone's got to push me in first, but when it's stirred, but someone gets there first. You can't remember this guy, can you? Someone gets there first. Okay, right. So in this day and age, God can heal the first 6 people that we pray for, but the 7th and the 8th is 1 out of power.
No.
Is that what the man's saying? Someone gets there first, as if God runs out of power. The same God who anoints me anoints you, and God responds to whoever calls on his name.
Yes.
So what was Jesus' response to this wonderful man? Verse 8. Jesus gave him 3 instructions. 7 words. Rise up, or rise, take up your bed and walk. Some translations will say get up. This says rise up. Some will say take up. Some will say pick up. Okay? Don't matter what it says, but I'm going to use get up. Now that word get up, and this is, now a bit of English for you. It's a present imperative tense. Some of you can say, I don't really care what that means. That's fine. In other words, it's a command. Jesus is not saying, look, if you'd like to, phone a friend, if the wind's blowing, if your feelings are okay, he just says, get up. If you was in the army and the sergeant major said, you walked into your barracks, get up! You turn around to them and say, sorry, Sarge, I'll do it in a minute. Would you do that? No. You'd respond. You'd be up on your feet quicker than you can breathe. It's a command. Get up! That's what he said to the man who'd been there 38 years. No more sitting around, no more making excuses. Then he said, roll up your bed. Take up your bed, roll up your bed. This bed is the excuses that we use. This man had been lying on this bed of excuses for 38 years. Oh, but you don't know what I've been through. So I'll give you, you don't know what I've been through. We make it as an excuse. It becomes our comfort blanket. It becomes our identity. Imagine a life without you being hurt. My God, you wouldn't know how to cope with a life where you're not going on about something every day. But this map, and this bed, he says, take it up, roll it up. Stop sucking your thumb. Come and be healed. Come and take action. Come and do something. If you believe this, you could be moving into God's grace and power and authority for your life. And instead of you being healed, you could be the one that God is using to heal people.
Yes.
and to cast out some snotty devils that are tormenting people. And he can set people free. Yeah? Roll up your bed and throw it away. You know why you got to throw the bed away? Because if you don't throw it away, you'll be tempted to lie on it again. And you've got to put those things on one side and say, you know what? Enough's enough. I've got to move on. I've got a life to live here. I've got things to do, people to meet, places to go. I've got to achieve something in my life. It's time to put it away. And then the third one, walk. Rise, take up your bed and walk. Interesting. I like this. Present continuous tense. Bit of English for you. In other words, you do it today. And today. And today. So tomorrow is today. And when tomorrow comes, it becomes today. And when tomorrow comes, it becomes today. In other words, you keep doing it, you keep walking, you keep walking. Now, if a man had been lying there for 38 years, some of you sit down on the settee for 10 minutes, your legs go numb, don't they? Yeah? And then you get up and you go, I'm stiff. Yeah? Only that's just me because I'm getting on a bit. Yeah? He's been lying there for 38 years. Don't you think he was a bit stiff?
Yeah.
I can imagine Jesus chasing him. I was going to do it with Charles. And Jesus is running after him, saying, come on man, walk, keep walking. Now you may think, oh, Jesus doesn't do things like that, but I can see him doing it. Why? Because you know what, he will take one step. I remember when I was in a wheelchair, here we go, another thing for you. And I was in calipers, and I can remember them being taken off me, and I had to walk again. And I can remember my mum was stood next to me, and I'm on a bar stool. And the doctor's over there. And he says, come on, Keith, walk to me. I don't know how many steps I took, but I'm on my face. Because I hadn't got any strength in my legs. Yeah. And I took a step, or two, I don't know, and I fall down. They have to pick me back up. And I have to learn to walk again. Yeah. Which I had to do. I had to learn to walk again. But you know what? Me learning to walk again is not one step, it was many steps. Continuing to do it. So you say, well, I tried to invite someone to church. They said, no, I'm not going to do it again. Get a life. Keep doing it. Well, I invited my daughter and she laughed at me. Join the club. Do it again. Keep doing it. Keep walking. Take action. And then in verse 14 is a interest, and I am finished. Nearly coming to land the plane. Jesus found him in the temple, and Jesus had told him not to say anything, and he went to the temple and he found Jesus there, and Jesus spoke to him and said, see, you have been made well, sin no more. Interesting thing, because there was no mention of sin before. All there was a mention of the bloke being lazy and making excuses, and Jesus challenging him to be, do you want to be made well? And then Jesus comes along and says, sin no more. You know what that refers to? Don't slip back into your old ways. Don't slip back into whinging and moaning about the things that you say you've set free from, but you're still whinging and moaning over. Don't go back to those ways.